Hey, everybody, and welcome back. It is your Tuesday edition of your lunch break with me, Ivana. If you are returning here, thank you for coming back. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Ivana. And today we are going to talk about one of the biggest stories that came out of Alabama yesterday. And that is an announcement from the Alabama Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. An emergency meeting was held yesterday, and the board unanimously voted to stop alcohol sales at bars and restaurants across the state at 11 p.m. Now, that means you can't go to your favorite bar and order a drink at 11:01 and after. Now, this ordinance doesn't have a lot of stipulations. It's pretty cut and dry. And today we have brought on somebody that a lot of you might be familiar with his establishment. This is the owner of Zydeco, which is located in Birmingham, Layne Flournoy. He is here to talk with us a little bit about what this 11 p.m. cutoff means for the bar industry, the music industry, and more. If you are familiar with Zydeco, if you live in Birmingham, you know it is home to so many wonderful music acts. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. And Layne has been an owner there since 2011. So pretty familiar with the scene there. So Layne, thanks so much for coming and talking a little bit about this 11 p.m. cutoff time with us.
Hi, Ivana. Thanks for having me on. It's definitely, it's a pleasure. Thanks for reaching out to me.
Absolutely. Well, Layne, let's get into it. This is a conversation that people have been having since this announcement yesterday, mid-morning. And the question that everybody and their mother has is, look, is the 11 p.m. cutoff of alcohol sales going to really stop or slow the spread of COVID-19? What is going to happen at 11 p.m. that wouldn't happen until 2 a.m. when bars typically are able to serve until?
Well, Ivana, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I mean, I think obviously if the later thing, and that holds true, things happen the later it gets in the evening. I think people get a little looser, that kind of thing. But I mean, is this coronavirus the boogeyman? Does he come out at 11 o'clock or something? Is that why? Is that why we've decided to make this curfew situation with it? I think obviously it'll curtail people from interacting with each other. At the end of the day, I don't see how targeting our businesses in our industry specifically that part of it is going to really curtail it that much.
It's funny that you say targeting our business, meaning the bar and restaurant industry. And there was an article that came out from one of our Mobile reporters, Lawrence Becker, yesterday that talked to a lot of those coastal bar and restaurant owners. And they had a similar feeling. They said, look, why are we getting targeted when people can go out to Walmart, to Target, to the mall, and they can get COVID just as easily at one of those establishments? So why is our business being affected? Do you share that same sentiment?
To some extent, I really do. Look, at the end of the day, I'm all about, I think we should respect this virus. I definitely think that this isn't a left or right thing for me. This isn't a red or blue thing. This is a public safety issue. And if the government tells me that the more I wear my mask, the more I wash my hands, the more that, or anybody tell me, I don't need the government to tell me, practice hygiene, wear a mask. If someone's going to tell me the more I do that, the quicker I'm going to get back to living some sort of normalcy, the quicker I can get back to operating my business properly, I'm going to do it. So I definitely agree to some extent with what they're saying. I mean, at the end of the day, it's everyone's responsibility for their own health, but they need to be respectful of others right now. And if you don't want to go to a bar, don't go out. No one's making you do it. At the same time, we should know our businesses better than anyone else because they're our businesses.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Layne, that you were a bartender at Zydeco before you became an owner. You were a manager.
When I was in college, yeah.
You've been there for a long time. And yeah. I think that it is something to note, too, that not only are you being affected now as an owner of the business, but your bartenders are being affected, your employees are being affected. And that is not only not money coming into your bar, but it's not money going to your employees.
Look, me personally, I mean, I'm not the only one hemorrhaging money here. It's my employees, too. And I've definitely given them the option. Like, look, if you don't, how I can operate, obviously, I'm operating at a very limited capacity, so I cannot have as many people working at once. And my staff's been great so far, juggling, sharing shifts, things of that nature. When we gave them the option, look, either if you don't feel comfortable in working, I'm not going to make you work. I've rarely had a complaint. Everyone is trying to work, trying to generate some revenue, some income, just like we are.
Getting a lot of people in our comments I'm watching here that are sharing your sentiment of is the coronavirus only coming out after 11? Is it Boogie Woogie from the Nightmare Before Christmas? But it's interesting because the ABC board said that originally they were going to put in this cutoff time at 10 p.m. But after hearing from bar and restaurant owners, they pushed it back that extra hour to 11 p.m. Does that extra hour really help you and help other bar owners out?
I'd say in a sense, generally speaking, broadly speaking, it does. Absolutely. I mean, if they're going to allow us any more time, we should be taking advantage of that instead of sitting back griping about it. So yeah, I think it's going to help. There are some places like myself, now that I can't do concerts right now, I'm relying on the general public and consumer coming in to spend money with me. So most of my clientele that does it generally doesn't come out till later. So I'm going to have to really work hard to push that, hey, we're opening sooner. We're starting whatever it is we're doing much sooner. So I think it'll help, absolutely. But some are still going to struggle to kind of navigate through that.
Mm-hmm. Quickly answered some of your questions. Somebody asked, Zydeco, no, this is not, believe somebody was asking location. This is on 20th Street, just kind of right at the top of 5 Points South. And you will see it if you drive up or down 20th. And Zydeco is an institution in Birmingham. So again, if you haven't
30+ years, we're the second oldest bar in Birmingham. We've been there for 30 years. And of course, I really would like to say this, Ivana. My philosophy has always been you don't stick around that long without doing things the right way. So we are really taking this seriously, and we're really doing our best to navigate through this thing in respect to public safety and for us a chance to try to stay viable and make it through this at the same time.
I have a lot more questions for you, Layne, but I want to ask one that Tracy and George asked or Tracy and Jorge, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, have asked us here. And I think it's a good question, and several people are wondering. They say, could you sell at $9.59 a bunch of drinks or a quote party pack, as Tracy put it, that would allow patrons to still stay at your location and still drink throughout the evening?
No. No, there's a last, all drinks have to be out of your hands at 10:30, or excuse me, by 11:30.
Does that mean that you will, if all drinks have to be consumed or in the trash or not in your hands by 11:30 p.m., does that mean you will have to shut your doors at 11:30 p.m.?
Correct. To my knowledge, yes, that's what's going to have to happen. I know there's been talk about, well, what about the curbside rule? I mean, you still can't open, at least in 5 Points that I'm aware of, you can't have an open container outside your building. So no drinks in hand by at 11:30. You can order all you want at 10:59, but at 11:29, got to be thrown away. You got to be out of the building.
And that is also going to affect, again, I know we talked about you're not having big live music acts right now, but any entertainment acts that you would normally have, that time limit's going to affect those, because typically we know our concerts, our DJs, our entertainment doesn't start until maybe 9 or even 10 p.m. What are you going to do about those entertainment acts? Well,
so right now, obviously we cannot have any dance floors of anything right now, at least they're not supposed to be. And we are working through that. We're going to do some acoustic, there will be any full bands, any full entertainment. We're going to continue to try to do some smaller acoustic solo, maybe a duo act, open air on our patio. We're going to attempt to do that moving forward. I mean, end of the day, people know us first as a music venue, and that's what we're going to try to be, but do it very safely. So we're going to try that. If it doesn't work, we'll continue to navigate and pivot from there.
Interesting comments here. We've got comments from Tammy and then somebody else, I missed it, coming through my feed, but saying, look, this rule might cut off people getting more intoxicated past 11 o'clock, but can't people just come in and double up their drinks and their shots maybe between 8 and 9? Between 9 and 10. Is this going to stop people from going out and enjoying their nightlife if that's what they choose to do?
Well, I mean, I think bars, restaurants have to be responsible. No one needs to be serving double drinks to people. We still need to be respectful of ABC board laws and regulations and ordinances. We still need to be respectful of dram shot issues. That's what just because, oh, well, you can't stay open as late, so let's just double up on serving someone. That you still have to be responsible about this, and we're definitely going to adhere to things of, to those type of guidelines.
Got somebody asking if Zydeco is going to start operating or offering rather a happy hour maybe earlier in the day.
Yeah, so it's funny. Since I've been there, that's definitely something, a part of our business that I've always kind of struggled to do, is have a happy hour business. We definitely push it. We have some great options food wise, beverage wise during that time frame. So that's one thing we're definitely going to push for in the foreseeable future.
And let's pivot to talking. Not only are you a bar and a music venue, but you are also located in an area near a popular college near UAB. You have a very large clientele that goes to UAB or is affiliated with UAB. So how is this cutoff, and also just less students coming to campus in the fall? Do you envision that hurting your business substantially?
Substantially is saying it mildly. I mean, look, Birmingham's never been a traditional college market like per se University of Alabama, Auburn University. But in this town, we do have Samford, we have Birmingham Southern, and we have UAB. I personally went to UAB. I'm still a big supporter of UAB. So I just kind of do what I know. I've tried to translate into, as a business person, and I've always tried to really cater towards UAB, Samford, Birmingham Southern. And that's probably 30% of our general revenue. And when I can't use the other 60 to 70% of my revenue, which is concerts, I'm relying heavily on my college demographic. So it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for me to kind of pivot and change on catering more towards an older clientele that's not in college. If school's not here, that's going to hurt me really badly.
I do have to say
that there are a lot of other bars that would feel the same way.
I'm sure. I do have to say that I had to give a smile to a comment here from Paige saying Zydeco has not poured a strong drink since 2006. I believe that's when you left the bar, Layne. Well, I disagree with you, Paige, there, but I do know that was definitely an ode here to Layne and to his business. Couple questions about the ABC board members, if they've ever owned or operated a bar. Chris, I don't personally know that. That is something we can look into for you later. But no, Chris, I don't know that at the time.
I don't know any either as well.
Now, Layne, let's talk about this as well. Curbside sales. There was something, I know you mentioned it earlier, but there was a condition in that emergency meeting and the announcement that came out of it yesterday saying that this 11 o'clock cutoff doesn't stop the curbside sale aspect that has been introduced since COVID-19. So is Zydeco not going to be able to serve curbside drinks?
No. I mean, why would someone come and buy a 6-pack of beer from me I can't open. I mean, I can't serve it open. Why would someone come about beer when they can go to the store right down the street or the liquor store right down the street and pay, normal retail value? I've got to mark it up so much for me to. That is not going a successful model of generating revenue for someone like me. That's for sure. It blows my mind that now if you're a place, an establishment that focuses on food. It is viable possibly, but not for someone like me. It's pointless for me to go and buy a bunch of product from my distributors or the ABC store and try to sell it unless I can do it. And we definitely have certain craft cocktails that are unique to us, but I can't sell it. Even if it is curbside, it's still illegal.
Now, let's also mention that after this announcement from the board yesterday, they said that a lot of what impacted their decision to put in this 11 o'clock limit were the bars around the coast, on the beaches and in South Alabama. Do you believe that rule, if that is true, and if this rule came out of concern for the beaches and for the coast, that this rule should have been implemented statewide?
Well, let me say this, Ivana. Let me preface by saying this. Most sensible people does not want our federal government mandating what we do from a day-to-day basis. That's what our state, that's what our county, that's what our city officials are for. That's why we vote them in. So what's good for the state of Missouri is very different for what's good for New York, the state of New York. It's the same way in our state. I get, obviously there's a lot of people going down to the coast right now. I feel like we should let our elected officials in our counties, in our cities, mandate this. What's good in Huntsville isn't the same thing that's going on in Mobile County right now. So I feel like this should have been something with the encouragement or CDC guidelines in conjunction with Governor Ivey. This should have been something I think that could have been more decided on a local level.
And do you think we've heard a lot of people that have said, we've heard people from both ends of the spectrum, but many who have said, oh, people don't need to be out at bars. People don't need to be out socializing in the, not dependent on the time, I should say. People just don't need to be out socializing and being in close proximity to each other. Do you agree with that? And also, what has Zydeco done to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 since you have been open for the last several weeks?
Look, Yvonne, and thank you for asking that. So look, in terms of this virus, it is, if that is your concern to catch this virus, it is not safe to go out in public right now. It's not, plain and simple. If you're concerned with catching this virus, it is not safe to go in public. I personally don't go past my mailbox without a mask on, but if in my business, if you're going to go out in public, you're leaving yourself susceptible to catching this, right? So I am trying to create a situation at my venue or my establishment. Look, it's not safe to come out, but guess what? If you come here, I'm going to do everything I can to minimize exposure. I have sanitation stations all over my bar. I am operating at even a smaller capacity than what our city tells me I can do right now. Okay. I'm sterilizing the place every night before we every night, and then before we open the next day. We are temperature checking everyone that comes in our door. You can't come in without being temperature checked. We give away free masks at our door. You can't go to our bar and order. I mean, if you come to our bar, we're just like you see in a gas station or anyone else, they're 6 feet. So we are doing everything we can to keep from minimize exposure to you. If you're going to go out, you're leaving yourself to catching this virus. But if you come to our place, we are going to do, and this is how everyone should be operating right now. And I think that's where a lot of this problem stems from. I really think that once back in, 1st of May, end of April, whenever, when said, hey, you can come out again, but you need to follow, we're telling you should follow CDC guidelines. I know for a fact there are establishments that didn't do so. They acted like it was business as usual. And I think if our small businesses would have came out and set the precedent that, like, look, we're going to do this the right way. Instead, there were places that said, oh, you can go sit in their lap and drink out of their drink. That's very frustrating for me, who try to do things the right way. In fact, even though I could have legally opened sooner, I decided to wait 3 weeks to be respectful, to see how the public was interact. And I think that's hurt everyone in the long run. I think if we all at first would have said, look, we're going to do what the government, the CDC suggests we do, I'm not convinced we'd be going through this right now, because we would have trained the public to come out and be respectful and responsible what's going on around us.
And too, if you're familiar with Zydeco, you know that there is a pretty large outdoor patio. It is on top of 20th Street, and it's pretty visible, and you can see it's a big area. Have you really been trying to utilize that outdoor space to help with the social distancing? Absolutely. I mean, everyone seems to be comfortable going out to open air places right now. I know certain places that are doing live music and in open air spaces. And people seem to be at least more open-minded to that, the ones who are going out. So yeah, I'm using that space as best I can. Even then, even at the capacity I'm operating at, even if I was at capacity of the amount of people I'm letting in, I'm not profitable at this point. It's just about mitigating loss. And that's all I'm trying to do. So yeah, I'm pushing my patio first. My concert hall I haven't had open since February at this point. So the patio is definitely my best asset, and I'm trying to use that to my advantage as best I can. Let's talk about that. Those mitigating the loss here. I know that's I'm sure, a very touchy subject for a lot of people right now, and especially for bar owners and restaurant owners that are being really hard hit, especially with this new rule. What are you able to do to mitigate those losses right now? Well,
first off, look, I get it. I mean, it's tough right now, and you have to get creative and you have to get proactive instead of just sitting on your hands and ride this thing out. So, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, obviously I've cut back on what I'm spending. I have. I mean, at the end of the day, when you run a business, there's two ways to keep your doors open, and that's to generate more revenue or cut back your overhead. So obviously, I'm not generating anywhere close to the revenue I need to be generating to stay operational and functional. I am doing what I can to cut back my overhead. I will say that all of my employees on payroll, I've not asked any of them to take a pay cut. I personally haven't paid myself since the 1st of March. So, I mean, I'm just doing everything I can to hold on to every dollar I have that comes in and just be smart and creative about, how to pay the light bill next month or the water bill, things of that nature.
Well, and we've got a lot of people saying in here, at least that bars are not being totally shut down like some other states where we have seen that. And I think most bar owners would probably say, yeah, this is better than being shut down. But you, not only at Zydeco, but just in other endeavors, deal with a lot with live music. Can you tell us a little bit about the music industry and especially the live music industry and how this pandemic is still affecting them and will unfortunately affect live music for a while to come?
Well, look, and I know everybody's hurt. Everyone likes to be entertained, but Yvonne, I cannot stress this enough. And I work hand in hand with some of the largest concert producers in the world: Live Nation, AEG, several of the subsidiaries. Red Mountain here in town is a subsidiary of Live Nation. Great people in that office. Red Mountain. A lot of the concerts people see in town come from Red Mountain. You have Kodar Productions, Todd Coder, who's one of the best concert producers anywhere in the state. They will all tell you that the live music industry will be the very last industry to rebound from this. And it's a shame for the consumer as well. I can guarantee you it's going to be well into 2021 before you get to see an indoor concert again that's not anywhere close to being over 50% capacity. And I think it's smart to be this way. I agree that that's how things should be right now. But myself, Zydeco, like I said, people know us first as a music venue. I'm going to try at some point this year, depending on how things go. I'm not going to be hasty, but when I do have concerts again, it's going to be very small capacity and maybe not even more for me to do. There's not enough meat on the bone for me to be able to generate some profit from that. But it's going to be well into 2021 before we see any sense of normalcy in the music industry again. And especially on a larger scale, venues over that 2,000 cap range, myself being a 600 capacity venue, I have to be able to do at least 300 people per concert in most cases for me to cover my overhead, right? To even get in the black from a show standpoint. Now, obviously, I'm here to make, just like y'all go to the movies. When you go to the movies, there's a reason why you only pay $15 for a movie ticket, but you pay $30 for popcorn and a drink. I make my money off selling concessions, food, alcohol sales. So even if I only get 200 people in my room, I'm used to having to operate on having more people than that. So I'm still not generating enough revenue in order to to pay my expenses because I can only sell so much. I can't overserve 200 people that are there. I'm so hamstringed on the amount of revenue I can produce with the amount of people. So yeah, you can sit here and say, well, at least you get to stay up until 11. Well, for places like me, it's almost makes more sense for me to close at this point. That way I'm not hemorrhaging more money because I can't put enough people in there to cover my overhead. I can cut and tighten my belt loop as much as I can, but it doesn't do any good. I'm still going to continue to hemorrhage money, especially when you're a concert venue. I can only imagine how bad it is for larger music venues right now that need 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 people to stay operational. It's going to be a long time before you see that again, Ivana.
So in the near future, will you close or will you just start really pushing out and promoting earlier events and earlier drink specials, et cetera?
Sure. I mean, look, like I said before, the thing I've been preaching to my staff is, look, we have to stay proactive. We have to stay creative, but we have to be patient. We're not going to do anything hasty. We're going to do everything we can to follow the guidelines recommended us by the CDC. We want to make an environment. I'm not going to say safe because it's not safe to come out right now if you're concerned about the virus, but I'm going to do everything I can at my establishment. And most venues and bars should be, and restaurants are probably doing the same thing. Most of them are, to minimize exposure to you as a consumer. So to answer your question, I mean, with this new ordinance that came in yesterday, I'm up in the air about it. I'm going to continue to talk with my team the rest of this week and kind of pivot from there and navigate through this as best we can. I would like to stay open, but at the end of the day, I got to look at the numbers and see what makes sense. I've got to do what's best not only for not even the safety, but from a financial aspect of my family, the public, my staff, and everybody involved here. I hope to answer your question. I hope to stay open. I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it as safely as possible.
Do you envision those different things you've added, the sanitation stations, sanitizing once or twice a day, and employees wearing masks, temperature checks, all these things that you've implemented at Zydeco? Do you expect to keep those precautions in place for the foreseeable future?
Look, my personal opinion, I don't think there's a vaccine anywhere close to being in place anytime soon. This virus is not going away. Okay. So this thing's going to continue to go on. I'm going to do everything I can. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, everyone should be hygienic. But if the public dictates that they feel more comfortable coming to my establishment to have those things in place, absolutely, I'm going to. I'm going to preach it all day long. I mean, right when this first thing happened, I went out and bought 5,000 masks to give away for free just to come in. So even I don't know, I haven't smelled any hand sanitizer that actually smells like hand sanitizer in a long time. But look, if I can find it, I'm going to buy it. It's going to be there for you when you walk in the door.
I am with you there. I know that after I covered the Tommy Tuberville party after the elections a while back, there we had some, I believe it was a distillery issued hand sanitizer, and they all are in there wonderful, and we're so glad that they are producing hand sanitizer. But I'm with you. We are not used to we're used to the Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer, and it is unfortunately those days are long gone. But quickly, I'm looking through some of y'all's comments and questions. Doug says when everything reopens fully, drinks are on him. Doug, I'm holding you to it. I'm going to find you. And we'll have to make sure you do it at Zydeco, of course. And, Layne, let me ask you, you have said you're not going to go past your mailbox without a mask, and you are doing all these things at your bar. You are even limiting capacity even more than what is being required of you. What do you think should happen here?
As far as
with, I say kids, and meaning that in just a way of young adults who are primarily the people going out to bars that we're seeing right now. Do you think it's safe for people to be going out to bars, to be going out, even with the restrictions, even the new 11 o'clock cutoff? Are you comfortable with keeping, or not even as a bar owner, but as just a private citizen, are you comfortable going out to busy bars and living, I guess, a normal life right now?
Absolutely. I'm a responsible adult. I'm sensible. My wife is sensible. I mean, if I go out, I'm going to go to places that have a protocol in place where they look to be spacing things out and making you wear a mask and wash my hands and putting me in a place where it's going to minimize exposure for me. Absolutely. I'm going to do what I can to go out and live a decent, the best quality of life I can, but I'm going to do it responsibly. I feel like I did that before this virus. Most sensible people are doing the same thing. Younger people going out right now, of course, when I go out, I'm going to, my personal health is my responsibility. The health of my family is on me. But at the same time, especially during this pandemic, you have to be courteous of people, especially the old elderly generation. I have a 77-year-old dad that just had a stroke 6 months ago or 8 months ago. I'm going to limit exposure for me, so that when I do go around my daddy, because I don't think it's safe to do that, that's what people should be conscious of. So yeah, I think as far as young people going to bars, most of them aren't going to get sick and die from this thing or going to the hospital. I'm sure some are, especially with underlying conditions. But I think it all comes down to the establishment, Ivana. You put protocol in place. And I'm happy to show anybody who wants to see it. I've got floor plans. Most places should have these same things. And I think that's what the ABC should, or the city should have done in this situation. I respect the decision they made, but have establishments, show them what they're doing, like the things they are doing to go with what the CDC is recommending we do. And I think that would make things a little easier for places to generate revenue and be open and be viable right now.
I have two more questions for you, and they are all very asked questions over and over again here. So I'm going to ask you the first one, which is there are not as many restrictions right now placed on institutions like churches or other religious organizations. And there's also the possibility that a lot of people, and I mean kids and teenagers, will be going back to school here shortly. And those are all places that might be very hard to social distance, hard to make people wear masks. And I think essentially the question some of our commenters are getting at is, do you think that it's fair for different organizations and different institutions to have completely separate rules?
Absolutely. I don't think it's fair at all. I mean, I think this is a very knee-jerk reaction. I think we could have been more open-minded to creating a situation for everyone. So no, I mean, you can go to Walmart tonight, and I think you're making yourself susceptible to this virus as you would coming into my bar now or sending your kid to school. I'm not saying you're right or wrong with you. Look, at the end of the day, it's your prerogative whether you want to send your kid to school or not. But I think it needs to be a level playing field. And I think we should be more open-minded to creating those situations. For everyone to kind of operate and be on the same page and make the public feel more comfortable about living a quality of life, whether it's sending your kids to school, going to Publix, going out to a restaurant, things of that nature.
And my last question here for you.
Church.
Right.
We do live in the Bible Belt.
We do. That is correct. We do.
I love Jesus just as much as most of these people on here right now too. So I want to see him. I want to talk to him as well.
Well, a lot of people have asked, what can we do to support you, to support Zydeco, and to support other local bars and local businesses?
Well, first off, thank you, everyone. We are an industry that, like I said before, we've been there for 30 years. I don't think you stick around that long without doing things the right way. I want to be around another 30 years. We love being a part of Birmingham. We love being in 5 Points. We love being a place where you can come and have a great social experience. So you want to support us? Wear your mask. Wear your mask when you go outside. Wash your hands. That's a great start. That's going to help me more than anything. On the flip side of that coin, look, if you come by, we're going to do everything we can to make you feel comfortable with being in our place. I'm sure a lot of other establishments are doing that as well. If they're not, shame on them. And they need, hopefully this whole new ordinance put in by the ABC board is going to make them wake up, because I know a lot of people aren't doing what they should. But if you want to support me, look, I mean, as I was saying about the music industry earlier, there are going to be a lot of music venues across the country. They're not going to make it to the other side of this. Several already have closed down all over. I mean, it's really sad. So support live music when it comes back. If you see your local musician doing some show that looks like a safe environment to do it, go check them out. No matter where it's at. So to answer your question, wear your mask, wash your hands. If you come by, we're going to make an environment where you feel safe to do so. Get out and spend money with your local businesses. That is the backbone of this country. I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on. Support your local businesses. That's what makes the wheels turn here in this country, in this city, in this state.
And I think it is important to note as well that your establishment has started a new thing in the last couple of months, and that is weekend brunch. That's another way to support you. I've heard wonderful things. I will have to make sure I stop by. But I think you and a lot of other business owners are having to venture into kind of new endeavors to just make ends meet.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, if that's not a music venue serving brunch, if that's not a prime example of we're trying to get creative to generate revenue, I don't know what is. We do have a restaurant license, so everything is on the up and up there. Zydeco, oddly enough, has a restaurant license. And we have a very good health score, by the way. I think it's currently a 94 for what that's worth. So we are doing brunch on Sundays from 11. And we actually started this, Ivana, when Mayor Woodfin put the ordinance, the curfew of 7 p.m. And that's what made us decide, like, look, if we can't open at nighttime, let's try to do something during the day. And that's what we did. We started doing brunch. We have a great big patio. We have a very limited menu, but we're pet friendly. Because of our restaurant license, we are kid friendly, even though put your kids on the leash. Not pets are welcome to roam. No, I'm just kidding there. but it's a limited menu. Check it out. It's on our website, ZydecoBirmingham.com. All of our social media has it. We're doing, mimosa specials. Everyone loves a good mimosa on a Sunday afternoon, especially our lady friends do. We have Bloody Marys at a good price. We're just, once again, creating a fun environment. Come eat some food with us. It's very affordable. So that's one thing we're doing, and it's been an uphill battle, kind of getting the public to know about it and embrace it, with us being a music venue trying to do brunch. But I think in the long run, hopefully, it will make a difference for us.
Well, and look, it's hard to beat a good brunch. You're right, Layne. So, Layne, thank you so much for taking some time today, giving us a little bit of insight into what it's like to be a bar owner during a pandemic. I don't envy you. I don't think that a lot of people do. But thank you so much for coming on today, giving us a little bit of insight. And I know it seems like really everybody has enjoyed your take on it. So, Layne, thank you so much again. And for everybody else, we are going to see you tomorrow. Make sure you come back and join us for your lunch break tomorrow.
Thank you, Ivana. It was a pleasure.